everyone, this is Dawn. Welcome to my YouTube channel and welcome to another Makers with Heart collaborative. Be sure to click on the playlist at the end of this video to see the other creative projects that the Makers with Heart have come up with. This month we are featuring craft fair projects, and my project is a mini version of the Refillable Notepad covers. Okay, so this is one that I have completed, and this is the original size that's 5x8 notepads. So I'm going to show you how to make a notepad cover for the 3x5 notepads. Okay, so the supplies that you'll need are chipboard, and I get this from Amazon. In fact, most of these supplies are from Amazon. It's by a company called Graphics, and it's the medium weight chipboard. So I have two pieces cut down to 5.5 by 3.5. Then you'll need some cardstock that matches your pattern paper. These papers are from Wonderland and the Mixin' collection. You'll need some shimmer trim and some 1/4-inch grograin ribbon. Okay, so this is wisteria, and sadly it has retired, but you can use any 1/4-inch ribbon. I'm also using some metal book corners, and if you just key in metal book corners on Amazon, you'll find it. And this is bookbinding tape. It's a fabric canvas sticky tape. And this is close to my heart, Bonding Memories glue, and sadly it's retired, but Zig makes a product that's comparable. You'll need some score tape, and this is 1/4-inch score tape, and some glue dots. Okay, so I'm going to start out with my piece of pattern paper that is going to be the cover of my book, and I'm going to cut two pieces at 4x7. So when you're using a directional pattern, be sure that the height of it is in the right direction of the patterned paper. Okay, so now I'm going to figure out how to apply these to my book covers. So make sure that you know which piece you're going to use for your front and which is going to be for your back. So I'm looking at the pattern, and I like these two people on the front that are building a snowman. So that's going to be in the middle of the front of my cover. So you take your patterned piece and you butt it all the way over to the left. And I find that putting the glue on the chipboard is easier so that your paper doesn't start to wrinkle from the moisture. So be generous with your glue and make sure you get all of the edges really good. So then when you place your pattern paper, make sure it's all the way to the edge, and then the excess is hanging over the right side. Okay, and then just smooth everything out with your bone folder. Get rid of any possible wrinkles. So now we're going to miter the corners. So the way you do that is you fold the corner in diagonally and then smooth everything down with your bone folder and then add your glue. So a lot of the thing that takes time for this project is just waiting for glue to dry. So you just fold your corner in, smooth everything out with your bone folder, and then hold it down and let the glue dry. Make sure everything's all smoothed out. And then I just take the whole thing and kind of fold it towards me and roll it rather than creasing the paper. I roll it around the edges, and then you just fold that side in. Make sure everything's adhered smoothly, and that bone folder really comes in handy. And then you just roll it towards you and then glue it down. And that makes sure that you don't have any creased or cracked edges on the front. It just rolls over the edges nice and smooth. And then you do the same thing. So I'm going to keep this process in the video for both covers. It's a little bit boring to watch, but I think it's important to see exactly how to do it. Okay, so that's your front cover, and then you have to figure out how to apply your back cover, and you need to make sure that your pattern's going to go on in the right direction. So I'm feeling out my chipboard just to feel, it's kind of bent a little bit, so I want them kind of to bend into each other, so that's what I'm doing right there. And then on the back cover, you make sure that your pattern is butted up against the side, and then you'll have the excess hanging over the edge. Okay, so again, I'm applying the glue to the chipboard, and then I'll lay it down on my pattern paper. And I checked multiple times because I can't tell you how many times I've added my cover and then figured out after I've glued it down that my pattern is upside down. So be super careful there. And I'm going to miter these corners and glue them down. Get a nice crease with my bone folder. Miter the other corner. And get that one glued down, and then I'll glue in the sides. So I think getting your covers right is the most important part, and then the rest of it can come together pretty easily. So in real time, it takes about a half an hour to make one of these covers from start to finish, once you get the hang of it. And once you do start making them, they're kind of addictive. They're really fun to make. They make great little gifts and add-ons, stocking stuffers. They're just a lot of fun. And who doesn't need a little notepad around? I'm a list maker, so I have notepads everywhere. Okay, so now we've got our covers. Checking again to make sure I have it right. And now we're going to add our bookbinding tape. So I use about 7 inches, give or take. And I'm going to lay this down on my Versamat using the measurements or the lines on my Versamat with the sticky side up. Okay. And you want to place your covers so that you have some at the top and some at the bottom to fold over. And you want to leave about a half an inch in between each of the covers. And I'm using the lines to make sure I get them placed straight. But if you, like that left one is a little bit wonky, if you get them just a little bit off, that's okay. We can fix it in the next step. Okay, just make sure that they're even from side to side so that when you close it, they're going to be even and straight. Okay, so now I'm going to add my shimmer trim, and you need about 7.5 inches, give or take, 2 pieces of shimmer trim. And again, I'm going to use the measurements on my Versamat, and this is where you can straighten things out. Okay, so I'm making sure that my tape is even between the front cover and the back cover. And then I'm going to use the markings on my Versamat to lay my shimmer trim down over the edge of the bookbinding tape. And it's a little bit crooked, so when I lay my shimmer trim down, that's going to be straight, and then optically it's going to look like everything's straight. I hope that makes sense. So you can kind of fix any little mistakes when you're laying your bookbinding tape down. And if it's a little crooked, it's okay. You can fix it. Okay, so I'm laying this down. And then we've got everything looking straight. Okay, so now we are going to add loops for our little mini pens. So these are Pentel RSVP mini pens, and again, they're from Amazon. And they're kind of like, I guess, for, I don't know, golfers use them. They're that size of those little golfers' pencils. I'm not a golfer, so I'm not really sure, but that's what I read on Amazon. So I'm wrapping the ribbon around it, and then I'm adding glue dots. And I'm going to place one loop on the left side, which is the front cover, and then I'm going to do the same thing for the back cover, but I'm going to stagger them so that once the book is closed, they're stacked, and then you can loop your pen in there. Okay, so that's the back cover, and then I'll take them out and see how you can thread them both through, and that keeps your book shut. Okay, so now I'm going to add the center portion of the book, and I'm going to cut it at 5¼ inches tall and be mindful of the direction of the pattern so that it's oriented in the right way. And then the width is 7/3. Okay, so I'm placing it down just to make sure. And this time I'm going to go ahead and put the glue on the pattern paper. Make sure that you're heavy on the edges because you don't want any of those edges peeling up. All right, and then I place it down in the middle, and I start by pushing it down to that into that exposed sticky back canvas in the center, and then I start pushing it out towards the edges, and then I smooth everything down using my bone folder, and just make sure you've got everything connected and pushed down and glued. Okay, now we can add our notepads. So this cardstock is cut at 6x3. It's your little sleeve. So you just lay it inside your notepad and then just kind of bend. You're not going to crease. You're just going to round the cardstock around the back. Okay, you don't want to crease it because you don't want the paper to crack. And you want it to be kind of loose because if you put it in too tight, you're going to have a hard time getting your notepads swapped out to slide it in there. Okay, so I'm using score tape and I'm using a bunch. So use 3 slices of it, and you do have to kind of burnish it with your fingernail to pull that protective coating off and get all that exposed. This is the mechanism for your notepad, so you want it to be permanent. All right, so then you place it inside your cover. Make sure your notepad is straight, and then you slide it out, and then you slide your bone folder in to kind of press that adhesive down. Okay, now I'm going to make my notepad pretty. And I thought I was going to use the same pattern paper as the cover, but the design, it's a little large. So I've got, this is some more coordinating paper from the Wonderland collection. It kind of has this Nordic sweater sort of design. So I like that, and it's a good size. You need about, it's 3 inches wide, and you need 1.5 to 2 inches, enough to cover that dark blue bit at the top of the notepad. So you just glue that down. And again, you just roll, you glue it down to the front, and then you roll the paper around to the back. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to add my metal corners. So I use some tweezers to kind of open them up just a little bit because you want the metal to cover those seams as well as possible. So you just lay them down and then hit them with your hammer. It's soft metal, so they're pretty easy to pound down, but make sure you pound them down tight because if you don't get them down tight, they'll fall off. And if you do have that problem, you could add a couple drops of glue to make sure that they stay put. So you have to loosen them up to get around the layers of paper, and then you just pound them down and make sure they're tight on that corner. So I'll make a list of all of these supplies, and as I noted before, most of them I got off Amazon and they're still available. Then you take your notepad and you slide it in the sleeve. Okay, and then for the last step, I'm going to decorate this whole pen. So these barrels, they're kind of making them smoky now instead of clear, but you can still kind of see your pattern. So you just screw the ink out of it and you roll up your pattern paper in a tube and you can slide it in there into your pen to kind of decorate your pen. So I'll make a list with links in the description below, and they're all close to my heart papers. And you slide your pen in there. Super cute. So I'll have some pictures of other designs that I made. And be sure to click on my photo to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, and then you'll be able to find all of my videos. There's also a link for the other Maker with Heart videos for this month. And then there will also be a link for the large size version of the notepads, the 5x8. If you make a purchase during the month of November 2021 in my online store, I will send you one of these mini notepads as a gift. Okay. I appreciate you watching my video today, and thanks for watching.